It's not going out live, is it?
No.
Edit it and shit.
Yeah, God,
Yeah,
yeah.
it'll be
We can QC it.
God, I could never do that.
I know you're
Take out all the
You could have
racisms.
taken out all the fucking ice cream.
Yeah.
I purposely left that bit at the start where I was just
God.
eating right in the screen.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, look at your Coke.
yeah, I mean that's
Look
funny.
what it is in your Coke. God, you'll love this.
Well,
What?
There you go, mate.
Who's that? What is it?
Done the thing up there. We put the names on the Cokes.
Archie. Oh look, good luck to
Archie.
Archie. This
Yeah.
Good luck to
competing in
Archie.
Oldham this weekend.
On last Saturday, because this will come
Oldham.
out at least on
that place is a
Monday.
shithole.
No, so
So we can't say this Saturday because it's all delayed, isn't
it
it?
would be a
we
couple of
on
days
that?
ago.
Yeah.
So it's
Are we
either.
So
recording?
Archie's already smashed it.
Yeah, it's either.
Oldham is a shithole.
Okay. Thank you.
There we go. But good luck to Archie.
No, it's not good luck to Archie. It's either, "Wee, Archie, you smashed it," or
No, that's the only option.
okay.
Hooray.
Yeah. Well done.
Nice one, Archie. You smashed it.
Or
He
you,
was, he
or
was, he
you,
was playing some nice reverse close guard this
yeah.
evening.
You learn or
In the
you
game.
lose or whatever it is. You lose or you
lose.
learn, something like that.
That should be on an unathletic t-shirt.
You learn and you lose.
You lose.
You win or you learn.
That's
I think
it.
it's
Yeah,
You lose. You
The
learn.
t-shirt
You love.
version.
that's the Jude Idiots merch.
That's right. Today's episode. Hold on. You can't hear that, but it's
No.
the start thing.
We were wrong on the last episode.
That was 28.
No, the one that's coming out of your solo one's 28.
So
No.
what? This is 29.
No,
This is 29.
No.
The one that's just gone out is 27.
Oh, so that we said it was 28.
Yeah.
No, I thought
Oh.
the one that you guys did in your kitchen was 27.
I
No.
don't.
We were the last time.
See, this is how
that we
this is how
recorded.
this is why the podcast get taken up with shit, because it's like it doesn't.
This is the bit that I fast forward on.
Yeah,
Listen
it
to
doesn't
that.
really matter, but these guys have this little thing about it.
The thing is, we don't have.
I gave up last
sponsorships.
time.
We don't have sponsorships to talk about at the start, so we have to make up shit with
Just so we're used
talking
to
about the
having that
numbers,
space.
doing our little
Oh,
ice
yeah.
creams.
Please don't.
We definitely need another fucking arm because my arm's dying. Anyway,
How are you?
how am I?
Yeah.
I'm great.
Come on, don't do this.
I'm good. Teaching every morning class this week,
Yeah.
which I switched my Wednesdays to do a Sunday, and I'm back doing a Wednesday.
Last of the
Wednesday,
week.
Thursday,
Yeah.
and Friday.
Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Did
Oh,
The
yeah,
the level in the club has literally gone down this week.
yeah, I know.
judo last night,
Extra John.
open mat this night, and then open mat tomorrow as well.
Oh yeah,
Yeah. And
fair
then
play.
it's a lot of training this
Are
week.
you going to take
Gained any
two
weight?
geese?
Yes,
are you,
I have.
Are you going to take two geese
When?
tomorrow?
Oh, what, for morning and then?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Because Sam was asking, I'm going to train in the gi, hopefully. So.
I'm hoping work goes well. And, well, after the morning class, I'll go home, have a shower first, and then come to work.
You're right. This is episode 28.
Thank you.
That's not an
No,
apology.
29.
That's just an acknowledgement.
It's 29.
I'll be 28,
Yeah. So this is
My
29.
glasses are
Yeah.
steaming up.
Yeah.
so we're not even episode 30 yet.
Guys,
No.
it doesn't matter. See?
Well, that's fucking.
Didn't we have you back on for episode 10?
Yeah, he was episode 10.
I don't know if you had me back on.
No,
No,
sorry.
It was first
He's back.
time.
He's back
you
on
had
now.
you on back on episode 10, like back in the day
Way back in the day.
when we were still only audio. But now this isn't a big number, so it's not even a real episode. So we're not doing like questions and answer. We're just having a fucking chat,
Yeah.
aren't we?
Having fun.
We're sponsored non-officially by Seven Bone.
Oh, you've actually put it up
Bone.
there.
We love
Seven
Seven Bone
Bone.
and all their food and their burgers. They were on
Un-
the TV this week. Did you see?
Unathletic.
Yeah, on Athletic. Unofficial.
Yeah. Technically.
Matt Benyon,
Fucking
can
knows
you
what this is. I'm
at
wearing.
least
You
give
got
us some
real.
t-shirts?
Fruit of the
if not
loom.
some money?
Technically scramble as well.
I think it's just Matt, isn't it? You're in with all those fucking
No,
scramble people.
Unathletic is the same guy as scramble. It's just
You and Mr. Dan like
Yeah.
this, John.
Yeah.
Aren't you?
it's the same guy. He just did a little bit of a side quest with unathletic.
Well, they're unofficially sponsoring the podcast. And who else? You're actually
Reorg.
sponsored.
You're actually sponsored by Scramble.
You're
Dove.
actually sponsored by Scramble, so
Yeah, but this is a reorg. But we are affiliated with them.
Yes.
yeah.
Dove
I like
for men.
that. I like
Dove
that.
for men.
Yeah.
Your battle soap.
Yeah, but
Thank you, Frank.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't really say that. I like that little video that
Is battle soap any more effective or more effective than Dove for
Yes.
what it says it's supposed to be doing?
100% more effective.
you have to say that though.
No, like, if I wasn't sponsored, I'd still choose battle soap.
Yeah, I think any.
Number one.
Am I allowed
Code
to?
Jam
Smells
10.
better.
Yeah.
Smells better.
I think
Cleans better.
anything-
looks
Lasts
better,
longer as well.
lasts longer.
Yeah.
Something helps you out.
You're like Mel Gibson in that movie.
The
I
Mel
don't
Gibson
watch
movie.
movies.
What women want. That one where he's in advertising.
God, that's a throwback to the night. Is that early 2000s?
I think there's probably late 90s.
Even
That was
90s.
a brilliant film,
I have no idea.
mate.
Sorry, my phone keeps going on.
Yeah, can you not? It's very unprofessional.
Sorry.
It's okay.
But apart from that, yeah, 85%, I'm going to say.
85.
Dropped 5%.
Well, fair enough, because I thought it was going to be a lot more than that.
Normally you're not good at Normally you're not very good at like.
He's given off
Covering up.
65%.
He was, wasn't he? Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Who's next?
Sam,
I am pretty good. About 80. I think rocking about
You were
80.
90 last time, weren't you?
Yeah.
After your holiday.
It's been a long day. I think it's been a long day. I had to go back to the office
Did you?
after going home because America don't send me emails on time. They're not going to be listening to this, so it's fine. So I had to go back, and then I came to Open Map, which was good. I felt good tonight, actually.
how's that knee?
My knee is, pretty much. It's pretty good. I just need to not do anything catastrophic, and there's lots of things I still can't do.
We got ourselves into quite an entanglement, didn't we, on
You were very
Monday?
aware,
Yeah.
which was much
Well,
appreciated.
I had your leg wrapped in between my legs, but I could just see this big blue
Which is exactly
knee
why I
brace.
strap it up.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I still strap it
They
up.
let me drink beers.
Fuck yeah.
It's an evening show.
Saying about your knee injury, I did mess up my shoulder yesterday or
Did you?
today. Yeah.
What happened to it?
John Harrison started like trying to pull it over my head. My right shoulder is so screwed at the moment,
John Harrison.
and it just felt like it just dislocated.
Jesus. Harrison.
Yeah. I know it was yesterday because then I did judo after.
You can't hear the things,
No.
but I just did the
Oh.
because it's funny.
Nice.
The
Sorry
sound,
for
the
butting
sound
in,
of
but
his
yeah.
shoulder
That's right.
popping out.
Yeah,
Ba-dum.
And Tadas has done his elbow again tonight,
Yep.
didn't he? So everyone's injured. But yeah, so really I strap it up for other people now to be aware of.
You motherfucker! I've just seen what they are. When did you buy those?
They're not from like brand new.
They're
It's all
second-hand.
second hand.
You're a motherfucker.
It's got to be
I
like
really want
half
those.
price to make it even remotely justifiable.
Is it quite easy to get them second hand?
Guys, we can't be talking about this on the
Is this
podcast.
are these through dark
Mine-
trousers?
Yeah.
Through dark trousers.
I so want them, but I don't want to spend the money.
I feel so rich and tactical.
Are they comfy?
Yeah, really comfy. It's quite hard to get small stuff because most of the second-hand stuff online is bigger, so it'd be easy to get something in a large.
Yeah. I'll have to have a look later.
You might be a medium. Anyway, this is really
Yeah.
boring.
I got a big ass.
Anyway, we got the black cargo pants email. You want
yeah.
WhatsApp, Byrne, I'm afraid.
No.
I like live in these now. I've got like 2 or 3 pairs, and I just live in them.
Right, so
So
I'm about
comfy.
18.
I would have had to go shopping to
Good,
join
thank
you, and I wouldn't have gone shopping to join you. So
I can buy you a pair.
No. I'm happy with jeans.
Should we
thanks, mate.
split screen and put like just maybe them two have a conversation and you and me can
Yeah,
talk?
yeah.
So how are you?
Yeah, I'm alright.
All right, there you go.
Yeah, but
Right.
brilliant.
What percent?
Don't know, good open mat.
Yeah. You had 7 bone as well.
7 bone.
Sunbone, yeah.
But
Always a winner.
Brooke and Coa have left me.
So what are you on?
To go to
95,
Spain.
98?
No, I don't know. Bittersweet, I think.
You're still making out like it's a bad thing.
It
You're going to go home
If
and just
you
run
give
around
it-
naked and just like music
If you
blast,
give it another
I do
6
that when
months
she's
or
there.
so,
porn on the TV, sat on the sofa.
on a big screen. I can't wait anymore.
Yeah, he said what happened earlier. They left, and you sat on the sofa.
And did
Yeah, with nothing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
did nothing.
You had a whack
Is
in
that-
the nap.
No. But yeah,
Cleared
so,
up when you woke up.
I'm just passed out. Gross. So you're 100% in then?
maybe yeah.
You're maxed out.
No, maybe like
Brooke definitely listens to
80.
this podcast, doesn't she, as well?
Oh,
Big
definitely.
fan, number one fan.
I think she
One of
does
the top
listen.
fans.
She said last week she's like
In Spain, by the pool, headphones
Yeah.
in.
she saw the little
Ace's
clip.
been wanking
Just
it.
ignore it.
Yeah, well, yeah. I was gonna say no. She'll be back by the time, but she won't, will she? Because this will come out on Monday. But
This won't come out on Monday.
oh,
We're in a backlog now.
Yeah. We're
she'll
ahead.
be back by the time she listens to this. Then
Yeah.
so I'll get.
So you're in a lot of shit.
Yeah,
You can edit it probably beyond this point, as I'm starting a minute.
yeah.
Based on the content so far.
That's what we have to do.
Episode 28.
9.
Nine.
No, 29.
Fuck.
Oh, God.
You're 28.
Stephen Byrne.
I'm
how
not.
are you? You have to give us a percentage,
I
right?
have to give you a percentage despite being the person who
Yep.
doesn't like the percentage.
I tried to get rid of it.
I don't know where to base this percentage, so I'm all right. Thanks. Yeah, nice to see you all.
Did you have a good open, Matt?
Mixed bag for me because I think I had to do a bunch of stuff before I actually got on the mat and
Yeah.
did any jiu-jitsu, but it was all right. Yeah, good fun. Some
Had
fun
to
rolls.
educate the youth.
Nice to have Leighton back, training a bit.
He looks slimmer. Or taller.
He doesn't feel
Yeah.
slimmer.
No,
No
Really good to
offense.
have him back. Kids class, and then a few rolls, which was nice. Yeah, all right. Percentage wise, what am I at the minute? I'm not injured. I'm not ill. I'm gonna go with. Yeah, I want to go with like 80.
Cool.
nice.
We're all pretty much up there.
We're
Did I
all
give a
up there.
percentage? Oh, I don't
No,
care.
you
It
don't.
doesn't matter.
Can't remember.
Oh well, who cares?
Do it now. You must. You absolutely must.
So, no, I don't know. Okay, 80.
Okay, cool. Thank you. Right.
Problem solved. Done.
All right. So we're all fine. No one's too injured. You've hurt your shoulder. Mine is getting better.
Yeah.
That's pretty good. And we all had a good open mat. Leighton's back on the mats. Good. Yeah. He's just great.
It was
He's
busy
such-
tonight.
It was
I think
busy.
It was busy open mat.
Yeah.
People training more in the gi, which is good.
Yeah.
So I actually went around and got a
Loads
few
of
rolls of
gis.
people. Lots of gis. being
Alex
worn, which is
turned
nice.
up
It was
in-
raining.
No
on
gi.
it.
At the
Yeah,
time
just in
that-
a no-gi kit, and she was like, everyone's wearing a gi. And I was like, that won't last.
Yeah. It was
Which
quite
didn't.
key heavy tonight, though.
Yeah, but
It's
then
like
everyone takes them off after half an hour or so.
Usually I always come in no-gi because I teach in the morning, so I can't be bothered to do 2 lots of gis washing.
Like his mum doesn't do it for him.
But
Well, what he means is that mum can't be bothered. to
Yeah,
do it.
yeah.
mum complains.
Yeah.
Me and Sam do our gis.
Oh. Just
Yeah.
together, like
Yeah.
naked, like
Yeah.
go down to the river.
Shout
go,
together.
Go down to the river like 2 Dagestanis.
Scrubbing in the river.
Do you wash his back and he washes yours?
Which one are you using? or a different brand.
Scraping the
Something you're
ringworm
working
off
on.
each other.
Good one. Yeah, nice.
Good times.
I
I
can't.
feel like Sam's trying to cut in there and just like change. Yeah.
Yeah.
Guarantee he doesn't
Let's take
fucking
it.
listen to this.
Who, your brother?
Yeah, 100%.
I'd like to think he does.
No, he doesn't.
Really?
Yeah.
Why not?
Just I know him. He would be sat there watching John Danaher or something. like
I
that.
was literally about to say the fact that he can watch a 20-hour John Danaher instructional about how to place your right pinky toe
Yeah.
in the corner of the mat to get touched up by a man in a rash guard or whatever it is that he does, but he won't watch his own brother on a podcast.
He won't.
He has to live with the guy though, doesn't he?
Yeah, I know.
Do you know what I mean? So
The big question on everyone's minds that we all want your opinion on, and we've already spoken about this bit, is your take on. We can beat that, don't worry. Because obviously you are our head coach, black belt of Paris, Newbury.
yes, 46-year-old black belt here.
46-year-old black.
Yeah, I love that.
Tapes.
Don't look it.
Thanks, mate. I can tell you, I feel every minute of those 46 years.
Well, I'd like your opinion.
Oh, please, yes.
On the
What?
ecological approach
Oh,
debate.
shit,
Because this has
okay.
been quite a big thing and it's been going on for a while.
Right.
And it's all kind
Boom,
of
here we go.
calmed down a bit. But I think we said that
Does
this
he need
would
another
be
beer?
quite an interesting topic. No, I do, though. If you
Yeah.
could
Can't.
chop me one.
Yeah, do you want one, mate?
Please.
Chuck one of those up to Sam.
Just because you're
Well,
a
okay.
teacher already, which must be,
Already, yeah.
well, like you're a trained teacher.
I am.
So it must be interesting coming to
Terms that it's all
that
wrong.
conversation, because that's
Hmm.
all about how you teach and how people learn and all that stuff. And you have to unwrap that at some point. Live.
Oh yeah.
It's not live.
Okay. So ecological. Okay. I don't.
What is that?
My first point on that is
Don't know.
the sticking point for me initially was the name. Not a fan of it. I don't.
It's changed now, hasn't
It seems to have
Yeah,
changed.
changed
So
it 'cause they knew it
they've
was-
changed it because ecological.
Didn't make sense.
I looked into it and I was like, is the other sports, other areas of learning use this word? Like I hadn't, I only considered it to be something connected to ecology and your environment, which is what it does mean. So I found it quite, just a misrepresentation of what they were trying to do. So I'm glad they've moved away from that into, like, what is it now, CLA or
The constraints-led approach.
Yeah, the CLA approach. So, and as a
just sorry.
Which makes much
What
greater
does that?
sense when you.
I'm going to sound really stupid, but what does that mean? As in the constraints.
so you're limiting what you do into smaller pieces, aren't you? That's the
Okay.
idea of it. So you start in a specific position, perhaps you have specific goals.
Yeah.
So it's not it, but it's all, whatever that little goal is can be done under maximum effort. I think
Yeah,
that's the
okay.
idea
Got it.
of it. So it's you're constrained. Maybe I don't know. Let's say you start in half guard and you've got to get both double underhooks or something like
Yeah.
that from top position.
And that's your game.
And the person
Yeah.
on the bottom, that's the goal. So all the other stuff doesn't matter. You're constrained. You're not trying to go into the legs. You're not trying to
Right.
pass the guard that's your goal. So
Yeah, 'cause-
limiting options to sort of funnel you into things. And I think, good coaches can use that approach really well because they can see how athletes work, see how players work to sort of, pick the most important key aspects of jiu-jitsu and really like hammer those home to people. So I do think my opinion is that there's room for it. The thing that I feel, so yeah, I'm for it. I like it. I use it a lot in the kids class. I've kind of always done game
But
playing
you use
games,
it as
judo,
a tool rather than an entire approach.
Oh,
don't you?
100%. Yeah, that's the bit my opinion is that you need to have a broader approach to everything that you do. You shouldn't choose, right, this is what I do and I'm not going to bend from that, because that in itself is constraint, isn't it? And so, if you're constraining yourself and then you've got your students and you may have, 20 students or 100 students or 1,000 students, right? They're all different people. They learn in different ways. And so you should try to be adaptable. And also you want to keep things interesting. And some things work like that and other things work in other ways. So I think it for me, you could argue it forms a part of how I teach.
Yeah, I was gonna say
But it's not. I wouldn't call myself
Your entire-
that teacher at all.
yeah.
Like
Yeah,
it's probably a small part, 10%.
yeah.
Positional sparring
was
often
gonna
has
say
a
that's it,
particular
yeah.
goal, right? We've been working a position recently like turtle. And so I would say, okay, we're starting turtle position and the person on top attacking the turtle needs to do X, Y, Z. And the person on bottom, all you've got to do is get it back to a guard or end up on top position. So that's that's a little game that's being played there, isn't it? You've got a small thing you need to do. You don't have to finish the person. You just need to get your legs between each other and the game's over. That could be a CLA game. But we were doing that kind of stuff years ago. And no one had said, oh, this is this. So from a pedagogical point of view, I just think you need to vary your approach based on your audience, based on the time of the class, and there's room for all sorts. So my issue with ecological, if I've got one, is more the approach taken by people on the internet, which has been quite
Strong.
well, they've sort of gone in quite oppositional to just sort of traditional martial arts, traditional jiu-jitsu, and have decided to position themselves as kind of like anti that method.
Yeah, which you
And,
don't get.
and that's a bit
from-
confrontational. I don't know why you need to do that. I don't see any benefit in opposing. You can do your own thing. You can be very proud of it. You can get your results from it. You can grow people in it. But as soon as you start pointing fingers and saying, "Oh, these people are doing the wrong thing," I'm not.
Yeah.
I've never said nothing negative about it, other than the name, which I thought was silly, but they've changed it.
Yeah.
I mean, I use some of that stuff, so I've got no sort of negative idea with game playing. I do have an issue with those people seem to be it's a bit of a modern thing, innit? Defend myself by pointing my fingers out and saying, "Oh, you lot are doing it wrong." It's almost like a
it's a bit.
it's too much, too strong.
segregational.
Yes.
we're all just doing it differently. But like even
dividing
Exactly.
ourselves. This is what the world is doing more and more, isn't it? We're dividing into these little groups where you're this type of person, you're that type of person, and really what we should be doing is coming together.
Especially in jiu-jitsu.
Well, in anything, but it's certainly in jiu-jitsu. Why divide the community?
Yeah.
Right? People are using those things. Don't start pointing fingers.
We're such a
And-
small group of people anyway, really. I know we think it's a massive thing, but
'Cause it's our
jiu-jitsu
entire
is still
sphere.
quite a small thing.
Oh yeah.
And
very
so to then start splitting it is a bit...
But I do, and I would say it does feel, at least from what I've seen, it's the people who've decided to go down that road and say my school is a ecological school that are kind of pushing. Most of the people who've been around, and they're instructors. I mean, they've all come from traditional jiu-jitsu schools, haven't they? None of them came up. None of the black belts who are running those schools started at an ecological school.
No.
So,
But they soon- they will
why
be,
push?
won't
Why push back?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it's a bit. It just seems a bit anti the spirit of just community and sort of. Anyway, I can't. I don't want to point any fingers, but I just think just
Live and let live.
chill out a little bit, really.
That's
you know,
the same
enjoy
thing.
your training, just chill the fuck out.
Like, I find it.
What's he going to say?
It's better be funny now.
I see. I get it with the same, like when people push on the internet of the ecological approach, like you have to do it this way, this is better and stuff like that. Same as like the vegans or like the trans when they're like pushing it down your throat, saying like you have to like do it this way or like you have to accept this. It's like just live your life however you want to. Not everyone has to be the same.
I find it a bit when people openly try and push stuff, like it normally is because they have a little bit of self-doubt in what they're
doing.
trying to push, if you know what I mean, or like
So you're saying the vegans when they're trying to tell everyone not to eat meat?
I just want a cheeseburger.
Yeah.
like I don't know what the like they're
Hence
almost
this week's sponsor.
they're almost trying to
which
like
actually, to be fair, do really good veggie and vegan
Yeah, they
options.
And they don't
Yeah.
shove it down your throat.
But
well, you shove it down your throat.
they're
They're
great.
I did for a little while because I didn't eat meat for a year and a half.
Yeah, I went vegan for a while,
Did you?
So-
How
Yeah.
long did you last?
about a year. Yeah,
What made you go back?
moved out and Brooke didn't want to do it, and it was just too complicated to have my dinners cooked for me.
Yeah.
So,
I just did it to prove a point that I can change. So I just had a ham sandwich.
It's not a bad way of looking at it.
Whatever tickles your
Well,
pickle.
Just doing something to
Sembo's-
prove you can do it.
yeah.
You know,
Because
because
Sunbone has you covered.
I
No
felt
matter
really
what
good
your
when I was vegan. I
stance.
felt like light.
That was when I was
Really?
really light.
Yeah.
Because there was.
you're not getting as
this
many
choice.
calories in,
No.
and you're not eating
No.
meat. And
You weren't as
No.
happy though, were you? Let's face it.
Well,
What was your mental
That's just
state
because he's
like?
Jewish.
yeah, I was pretty fucked. Yeah.
Well, there you go.
It was about that time as well, actually. Yeah.
Hey, I'm just saying.
Well, when you got circumcised.
No, that was when I was. They do that pretty much from birth.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
fair.
Yeah. It was around the time of my bar mitzvah.
which is when you're what 13.
Yeah.
Do you actually have a bar mitzvah?
No, I'm not actually Jewish.
You are though.
It's a brand gold. It's not,
Yeah, that's it.
He's
yeah.
added the steen just to get a few more contacts.
Yeah, it's good for business.
Did you see the video I sent you of the Jewish party thing?
No, I didn't.
Jumping
no. I
around,
found it
didn't you?
offensive, John.
I didn't send
I
anything.
don't send you ginger videos.
No, you haven't. You sent
No,
me
I
some
see.
fat ones.
The trend for ginger people being the same as black people has seemed to have died off very
Yeah.
quickly.
Yeah, I deleted my video.
I'll probably,
did you?
Yeah, I'd probably suggest that.
It got a bit too much traction. It hit a couple of thousand
Did it?
views. Had like 200-300 likes. Ashley put in the comments, say the N words, and then someone responded. I backed that person up instead of Ashley. It got a bit hectic.
Oh, nice.
So I just deleted it.
See, we got here from asking you about CLA.
Mm.
Anyway,
Crazy.
what was I trying to say about it? Is that I was trying to come point off the back of people pushing it down, saying it's like they're calling out like people that just do like would it just be called traditional coaching, like
Yeah, I suppose
normal traditional coaching, like people
Just call it jiu-jitsu.
people aren't but the guys that are coaching just traditionally aren't. You're not seeing a load of videos pop up saying, oh no, actually CLA, you're doing it wrong, if you know what I mean. It's just
So I think
the other way around.
There's a bit of a fallacy in the sense that there's not just like these two ways to coach. Like I understand it as a bit of a reaction to the traditional, like, let's do burpees to warm up. I'm going to demonstrate a technique, then you're all going to do it. I'm going to demonstrate a technique and you're all going to do it. And that's it. Like, I get that's a very structured and quite an old-fashioned way of doing it. But it's not the only alternative. Like, there's a bunch of other ways to instruct or teach. And, like, I like to do somewhere in
Ecological.
between, which is where, like, especially because our classes are often, if you only got an hour, that's not a very long kind of time. So I basically blend the warm up into what the techniques are. So we'll do some basic warming up and then drill the movements of what the techniques are, because they're all linked to whatever you're doing, shrimping with an underhook or something. So drill that as part of your warm up, get all the reps in, then do that with a partner, and then you don't know if you're still into the warm-up or if you're doing the techniques. Like, that's another way of teaching that is neither here and it's not really there either. It's more akin to, I don't know.
The CLA people would argue that you're wasting your time, though, doing it. If you're moving like that anyway, and you're going to do this particular movement in this particular way, why would you do it in isolation on your own over there and not be having such a good time and not advancing your skills when you could grab a partner and just be given this set of instructions that force you into that movement and then do it 100%. That was what they would argue.
Yeah,
But I don't agree with that argument. I'm just saying that's what they seems to be the central tenet of that teaching is everything has to be done at maximum output.
Is that a part of it?
Yeah, absolutely. That's a total part of it, right? All their training is like, here's the rules, here's the constraints, right? You're allowed to hold them, and here's what your goal is, and here's what your goal is. Go. Boom, 100%. And you'll learn yourself how to do certain things. Now, I think probably the coaches must go around a little bit and fix a few things here and there. I don't know. But that's their thing. But I just, fine. But I know I see it works well. Like I say, kids' games, really excellent way of doing it because kids don't necessarily get steps through of a specific position, or they can't see the bigger picture. And if you break something down too much for a 6-year-old, they don't get it. So, but just get hold of their leg and lift it off the floor. I played games like that. Get hold of get double underhooks from standing, get double wrist control, something similar, silly. And then, they'll be doing these different games, and maybe after 2 years of training, they'll still be there, and they've got their grey belt, and they'll be able to like hit a nice shot into a double leg and start looking at the technique of what they need to do, how to connect their hands, or what they need to do with their head or whatever. But to begin with, just giving them that kind of like raw thing to do, pretty effective. And it's useful in that way. It's just not the only thing. And I think,
but then
so it's a good thing. But CLA, they've gone very oppositional to everybody else. They're a bit aggressive, and there's just no need for it. And chill out. I mean,
I just think obviously everyone learns different ways.
No one's saying it's bad.
That's
no one's saying it's bad.
That's the thing.
But they're saying everything
good.
else is bad, and it's a bit like having a religious opinion or some sort of dogmatic opinion that you just will not break from, and I've got my opinion, it's definitely this, I'm not going to bet. And it's like, okay, so even presented with good evidence and good other things, and I'm happy to say, well, I like some of the stuff they do, but then I also like doing this. Some old dude or some young woman or some kid who comes to class, or someone with like a disability who's not able to move, they might like doing some burpees to warm up, and then just doing like Toriando pass and maybe like a couple of just like drills and movement stuff, and you know, without the person they're going with, who's an athlete and wants to, get double unders, blah blah blah, and they just get smashed. Guess what? They don't come back to class next week.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry about that.
They need but I think as a club, as somebody who's running a club, you get there's different people in that club. There's the guys that you've been training for a while and have got really good. Maybe they're blue, maybe they're purple, and
We've completed it.
and you completed
I don't think he's talking about
not
you.
about talking about anyone in here.
He said blue or purple.
Transcended it.
But like, they might, we know the people in the jiu-jitsu world, they following jiu-jitsu people online. They're watching the instructionals. They live in and breathe in jiu-jitsu. Maybe they're hitting the gym. They're coming in with a plan. They're just like a little group. You got a club. If you just focus all your energy into them, then the other people are going to disappear. Now, you might end up over time building a club of just those kind of people. For me, that's not my goal. I want a nice community, which I think we have got, which is so broad that you've got those folk and they've got space to work. But then you've got the dad who's in once a week, and then you've got the mum who's in once a week, and then you've got, the kids who come with their mate twice a week and they're kind of just trying to do their own thing. And then you've got, the people who struggle and they've got some health problems and stuff like that. Then you've got like the guys who've been in it for a long time but have got pretty good, but they're not hunting competitions. So how, I think the idea is to make sure everybody's getting something in the environment. The ecological environment.
I think the traditional way
in the environment
gives a good balance to be able to. Some people learn in the way of like they visually see a technique and be like, right, I've got that. But then some people don't.
Yeah.
Some people will have to do it like 20 times before they get it.
So
But then also starting like learning the technique at a slow pace and then slowly building up. Like I like to test a technique on like a white belt, and then pretty much you.
Yeah.
And then I work my way up to better people than Mason, and test it on higher experienced people. Work my way up through the ranks to get it to a decent level where it will work.
and that's a great option as well.
But then if you're a white belt, then you just have to practice on each other.
I just think
But then
about.
that's slow
I try
pace.
to take the ecological
build it up.
approach. Any approach you could do. So I've done other martial arts. How do we train in those martial arts? Boxing or kickboxing, whatever. You think judo. They follow a similar pattern. I think if you took an ecological approach into a boxing gym, for example, and said, right, you can't hit the heavy bag anymore. You can't hit pads. There's none of that. There's no road work because it's irrelevant to what we're doing. So you're sparring every day in the boxing gym, 100% sparring.
But you're just hitting left hook.
Yeah.
You're going to slip and then hit a left hook, and that's all you're looking for.
Yeah. So that's all you're doing. So someone's going to get real hurt real quick, and it's what if this is so useful. Like if boxing's a good example, right? Just it does not fit into that space.
No,
I wonder if there is a club that's tried it.
Only fits into jiu-jitsu because it's so
Adaptable.
big, adaptable, fluid, personalizable.
It's also,
Fucking hell,
it's
too
relatively,
late yet.
currently, as far as I'm aware anyway, it's relatively unproven as to being the great thing it claims to
Is there
be.
any world champions that?
Well, they couldn't.
not
They
that-
couldn't be because it's
Not that I'm
too.
aware of.
It's too early, really.
I thought you were about to say too
But
dangerous.
also,
No.
I know some people who train in this way, but I also know most of them who are kind of like going beyond their club training and competing are also training in gyms that aren't doing that. So it's very hard. It's like a lot of things in life, it's very hard to go, it's like a scientific experiment. You've got a placebo over here and you've got this, which one's going to come out? You literally have to set it up and force them over time. You're only allowed to train like this. You can never watch any video, whatever. This is why it's a fallacy, right? It's not real. So don't fight the corner of it like it's sort of magic.
We do have
it's not really.
Chris down on the 14th, isn't it?
Yeah.
I can't make it.
Looking
well,
forward to
as
that.
far as we know.
Yeah. I really want to go, but I can't make it.
Yeah, I can't.
unfortunately.
Oh, right. What's happening on the 14th?
I'm sorry, my daughter's having a birthday.
Oh, that's the birthday
missed-
party.
I missed the first one.
Yeah, I know.
Charlotte and the kids are going.
I know, sorry.
I missed the first one. I
Sorry.
can't miss the second.
Thank you, mate.
Yeah.
Why did you put it at that time?
Yeah.
Right, it was.
I'm going to come in and say hi to Chris
It's the
and like play
nearest
and
Saturday
stuff.
to
but-
her birthday, and
I'll come and see you
we're
afterwards.
going to Cornwall a week after. Sorry.
Yeah.
So if anyone who's listening wants to
It's a
join,
shame.
come to Boxford Village Hall.
No.
Saturday the
No.
14th.
If anyone wants to come to Chris's seminar on
Oh,
the
yeah, that too.
14th.
Yes, it's a jiu-jitsu podcast
Yeah.
after all.
Because that's
Thing
he's
is, I
going
would
to
like to have come to that.
Jurassic,
I really like him as
yeah,
well. He's
BJJ.
such a good guy.
He's been down
Is he
and
CLA?
trained in your classes. hasn't he?
Yeah.
Not,
But not in much religious way.
Though, right?
Yeah.
Am I right in thinking he was a Nick Brooks black belt originally,
so,
but
yeah,
he's a
that's right.
third degree black belt now?
Really sound
he's
guy.
a Really sound guy.
Yeah,
Mate,
he's
I
cool.
Went to
met
one
him
of
once,
his
but I know
classes.
he's been to your classes 3 or 4 times.
Yeah.
You've trained with him.
So you went to train with him though, yeah?
Yeah.
So what did you think of his classes then?
I thought it was really good.
Yeah.
Like, we played some games to start off with. Like, there was a game just as a warm up, like, you hold a tennis ball and your partner has to try and get it out of your hand or something like that, and just like little warm up games. But then we went into like positional sparring, situational, like you have to try and get to this position. This person has to not let you or something like that. Then after that, we'll come back around. He would talk and ask people what they struggled with, what they found worked. And then he
That's
would go back and
interesting.
say, right, now try it, but use this, and like give an example
So
of like a technique.
That's
almost.
a really great way to do it if you've got a relatively small number of people.
And arguably maybe
I think that would be really difficult if you
He
have
also records
25, 30 people turning up. You can't have a conversation where you ask people what they thought worked, what didn't work, whatever, because you don't have the that's great, and I agree. But
'Cause he's,
I
like, getting the
don't
feedback.
know that would be good for a bigger number of
but
students.
also
in
how would
class.
that then work when you have the really broad range of belt levels? Because the higher levels are always going to be that bit more knowledge, aren't they? Like how is if you don't drill stuff at the same level and you was just doing this sparring, you couldn't always then just be like, right, all the white belts train together, all the blue belts train together, and so on. So then arguably if you just doing constraints led like that, then the lower belts aren't really going to get as much out of it as quickly as drilling, are they?
Compared, if you had
'Cause they're just
a
gonna get
white
smashed all
belt
the
and a
time,
black
basically.
belt with each other.
That's the way of the white belt, unfortunately.
Yeah, yeah, but
No,
at least
if you're
they
repping a
get.
technique
Yeah.
specifically, let's
Then
say,
they go when they're sparring with a higher belt, they go, "Oh, I remember this from drilling. I can do this." But
and
if
you're
you-
not pressure testing
Yeah.
it in that instance.
Yeah.
That's the only way they're going to get certain things to kind of happen. Or you do your kind of situational CLA kind of a game, but the upper belt has to ease off to allow.
But if they've started their whole training journey as everything is 100% from white belt, so I'm talking maybe in a few years' time when these guys start to build up and get up to those higher belts, if a brand new fresh white belt walks into the gym and all he's ever known is that when you do these games you go 100%, then as he grows, then it's always 100%.
But you learn efficiency through attrition
Yeah.
over time. So I think
Someone write that down, put it on a t-shirt.
naturally you're gonna, as you
But
get
I
better,
feel like you say that.
naturally comes
John said I
because you
should
don't
make
want.
a rash guard that says hydrations for pussies.
Tell you what, you and I can have those too.
Yeah. I feel like that argument is coming from a base of the fact that you've trained in a more traditional gym and you appreciate the helping of the lower belts. But what I'm saying is, would
But I
that come to someone who has only ever been known 100% their whole journey?
But I don't know that a constraints-led approach where you do you do those games as hard as you try your best to win. I think that encourages people to be competitive in their nature, but I don't know that it necessarily guarantees it.
But surely these people...
There's the basics of like kindness and decency.
But there's bad eggs always.
Yeah,
there?
But surely these people would learn in this way, go home, see on Instagram a technique and be like, I'm going to try that.
This is what I was going to say off what Bernie said.
You can't stop that.
You don't live in isolation, do you? That's what I mean. It's very hard to...
They're still technically drilling with their mind by
also
watching...
like one of those like cult clubs that you only have to wear... Similar. Only wear their kit. You can't train elsewhere and stuff like that. It's a CLA approach. Like you cannot watch Instagram reels of different techniques. You can't.
Yeah,
but they still do sparring.
Yeah.
So you can try that. Or implement that in sparring. There is a big element of it that I think is. I think that is the best way to teach some of the unseeable stuff in jiu-jitsu, and there are certain. You have to apply that because you can't drill for weight distribution. You can't really drill for like how to learn to apply pressure.
Oh, I don't know.
You can't really learn how to apply pressure or tension when you're on your back to the top person in terms of tension in an underhook. Like that's really difficult. You can rep your entries to arm bars. You can rep sweeps. You can rep specifics. But I don't think you can rep. Because you have to meet pressure with whatever the counter pressure is. That's where positional sparring comes in. You can get like feedback from your partner when you're drilling a stack pass, let's say, and they can say, "Oh, that was better. That wasn't good. Do this," but you can't.
There's so many factors even there, though, isn't there? If you're drilling with someone who's new, let's say 2 white belts go. And they don't know they've never rolled with the higher belts.
Yeah.
And they're getting they're an office worker and they're in their 3rd week of jiu-jitsu and they're tired and and it's like, this is great, I'm loving it. And someone's been the instructor teaches a stack pass or like an over under pass, something like that. And they think this is a horrendous feeling and they think, oh, that's great, mate, you did a cracking job. I felt really rubbish. But it was just their other mate from work who had, messed up half the technique and wasn't applying the pressure in any of the right places.
And then when John
there's so many variables.
Yeah.
You get good at jiu-jitsu, really, don't you, by time and sort of staying there. Some people get better quicker than others. Yeah, some people are more naturally able to sense and feel their body, feel the other person's body, understand their weight distribution, their pressure. They're just built differently mentally. There's just so many factors. Then, of course, you get coaches who maybe teach them the right things at the right time. But then, I think the best students are often the ones, let's say when you get to, you learn through your white belt, you're picking up a load of techniques, you don't really understand things. By the time you get to blue belt, you've got kind of a lot of the pieces of the puzzle. And then you should be going off and, watching some instructionals and grabbing a partner and sparring for 2 hours and just working out and messing around. Maybe you're going to come in to an open mat and drill and go, I've seen this thing with some leg entries. You should go and do your own sort of study and bring it back. It's almost like when you get given that purple, that blue, that purple, it's to say, well done. Now if you're serious about developing, it would be worth your while to go and do some of personal study. You talk about COVID and the time you trained with your brother a lot in there. So you just not long got your blue belt.
You can always ask my brother and just say to him, like, what was the best training for you?
So he'll say Jay Butler.
He said
that time it was like it worked, and the two of you, looking from the outside, you could say, these two guys are just blue belts, or whatever. But you understood it, you worked together on the specific things, and essentially you trained and you watched a lot of tape, and you got good. But you didn't need anyone to tell you this is the method you should follow or whatever. No. But you had to have each other. Yeah. You needed a willing partner, and you needed to do it, and you needed to train sometimes like this, and sometimes like that.
For the whole of lockdown, all we did was
some days you're tired.
We just literally did
some days you
positional
know.
sparring. So there was like, all we did was guard passing and guard retention.
So ecological approach then.
No.
But the
So I was
thing
working-
is, if you take that and say, well, they've almost like used a word or a piece of terminology to like steal things that are already already
positional
there.
sparring. Yeah.
You know, these are not. You know, when you could just sparring is a select. You know, you get to this position, this checkpoint, and then you move on to the next checkpoint. You know, what would happen if you just said, right, we're just a club that just does sparring. And those people, you come in every, train 3-4 times a week. You're just sparring.
That'd be good.
You're
fun.
still going to watch, aren't you? When you're
Not
a
as a
white
white
belt, you're
belt.
still brand new
That's
white
the
belt,
thing,
right? You don't
yeah.
know anything, but you know the rules of the game. The rules of the game are you've got to pin your opponent to the mat, get on top of them in a way where they can move less, move yourself around them into such a place where you make them give up. How are you going to do that? You're going to choke their neck, you're going to put their arm or their leg in a position that's uncomfortable until they quit. How do they quit? They tap. Okay, off you go. 3 times a week, there's 20 people to do it with, and you keep doing that. You're going to get better
Yeah.
without anybody telling you fucking anything, giving you any out, other than knowing the rules of the game. It's like, if here's a football pitch and a ball, what's the rule? You've got to kick that ball into that net.
Yeah.
You
so
know, you're going to get better if you go to the football ground 3 times a week. You're going to get fitter. You're going to find ways of getting that ball round people. You're going to get better at kicking it. Like, you don't need specific instruction in that way.
No.
But if you do add a bit of specific instruction, you do start being a guide to those people. Surely you can accelerate, at least for some people in that group, their understanding and learning and ability.
So I would
and-
argue that the constraints-led approach will create a better generalist quite quickly, but I think a more traditional drilled techniques approach would create a better specialist with smaller details.
What about passing on the knowledge later on? Because, when you learn something, you've kind of learned it for yourself, but you haven't got a name for it. So can you only pass it on by being able to tell people what games to play? Or could you sort of articulate what is actually happening and what you're doing? Because I've always been, as a teacher, of school teacher as well as jiu-jitsu instructor, I'm like, I learn a lot by teaching. You learn your subject by teaching it. Like, it's, as a black belt, as a brown belt now, it's like you guys, like teaching, because you have to understand, like, when you're going to give these things to these people, it's like, right, I got to know it. I'm not trying to teach people stuff I don't know. I'll add stuff and I'll learn it and then I'll teach it. But I'm not going to go, I saw that thing on that Worlds. I watched Worlds last week and this guy hit this move. I'm just going to come in and try and do it. It's like, no, I might study on that a little bit and see if it works and drill it and,
That's why his class is so quiet.
Wasn't there a picture of John's class on Wednesday? It was literally like
Sorry, it's not my fucking class. Used to
But,
be.
it's, I think, I don't know where we were going with that, but you need to have a variation, I think.
I feel like
how
the traditional thing as well is a bit more like, I know we've just said this, but like inclusive, and I was just thinking then, like, when like a Monday would be a good example of like the whole, not the colour boat class, the normal classes. Like, you do the thing to warm up the technique, and then we'll have people that come and train and they're like either be injured or new or whatever, and then positional sparring at the end, and then they'll sit and watch because they have that option, but they've done some jiu-jitsu, they've learned something.
It's not the worst thing on the couch.
This couch just seen some
I was going to
things.
say,
Probably.
there's just a little bit, it's a minor split.
So they've done a bit, they've learnt something that day, they've done some jiu-jitsu, they've done their drilling with their partner,
They're quite content.
but they're
with
either
that.
injured or they don't really want to spar yet, and that's what they do. So they'll then sit on the bench and they can watch, or choose to maybe jump in for a little bit and then jump out. Whereas with CLA, it's all or nothing.
It's all
you
that.
can't. You could sit and watch, but at some point you've got to get in and do that. Whereas with normal approach, like say you could do the drill, you could be like, oh yeah, I want to learn that move, I want to do that, but I've got an injury or whatever. Whereas you say with CLA, if you injure yourself, it's like, what? Just don't train, like. You know what I mean?
Which is like the guy.
No, I mean they would use. I would presume they would say, right, that's a constraint in itself. You can't use your right arm.
Yeah, I think that's
whatever.
I
mean, I've always thought that is a good thing. I mean, but then you look at like someone like Hicks and Gracie. If you go back to the old video, old choke where Yuki was first, appeared. Get Yuki's name dropped in there.
Sensei
Nakai coming over. He's here in July 21st, Monday at Newbury. Don't miss that one.
Ciao.
But like Hickson says in that, he's training in Torrance in California, his first school, and obviously he's a master, he's a black belt, he's the best in the family. Everyone who's coming to train with him is a white belt. He's a black belt. He's vastly better than them. But to keep his training to stay on top outside of Brazil, he was constraining himself, right? So he'd roll eyes closed. He'd say, right, I'm going to tap you with this right arm. I'm only going to attack that, and I'm going to armbar you on your right arm. I'm not going to use my left hand. You're using those kind of methods. And I think, if you've got a bad back, you probably want to rest. If you've got a bad knees, you've got to be really careful. Bad neck, just stay away. But if you've got like fingers, wrists, elbows, sometimes shoulders, depending on the severity of it, ankles, you can train around these. You be careful. But again, would it work in an environment where the goals are particularly set like this? And I'm not sure. And that's what I mean. It's all about variables. I think for me, using those constraints is interesting because it's like it works great for kids, and also for me, I would like to use it with like the higher grades, like in the colour belt class. Like here's the game. Here's I call it like situational sparring. You got 1 minute, you got 2 points down. You're in De La Riva guard. The guy's got your head pulled down. Right, go. You got 1 minute to score points. Stuff like that, which is a bit more like it's competitive focus, and it can just change the level. So
a big part of the CLA approach is like, the argument is like giving people the ability to improvise. But a lot of the time, I think about jiu-jitsu as an instrument. Like, you are the instrument, you're playing against alongside another person. And although you're in opposition to the person, you need them, and they also need you. And it's like
dance partners.
And you can't improvise without scales and arpeggios. Like, that exists. The mechanics
of t-shirt.
The body exists. Right?
It's a Mexican band.
Yeah.
And like, that's this, like the mechanics of this, that and this. That's your scales and arpeggios. That's like, those only do certain things. They are completely.
I have no idea what that word means.
Two beers and he thinks he's like Einstein or something.
But that concept-based training,
you need some element
understanding
of
like the biology of the body and things like that.
Music theory. Even if you don't understand the terminology or you aren't classically trained, to improvise, you've internalized music theory to be able to do that. And so either you do it without obviously knowing it, which is probably more of a constraints-led approach because I've learned this by playing games all my life, or you learn it through filling in the gaps by doing specific techniques. And the other thing is, just because you train or you're taught technique doesn't mean to say you can't take theory and the elements of that technique and apply it to other stuff. Like the Ash Williams seminar was the anaconda choke, specifically the anaconda choke. But the concepts he taught in that have increased, like have made a really positive impact to all my head and arm chokes. In terms
Which is a
of
problem
like
for the rest of us.
Creating tension
Speak
and
for
just
yourself.
letting it sit.
You got a fat head, John.
No
Skinny
neck.
And so I'm basically saying I agree with you in the sense of like, all coaches are different, all students are different. You're then having to coach in the way that you like to coach to a often changing group of people with different abilities, requirements. Like, you often have to tailor your class to the lowest common denominator, like the person who needs the most from you, to learn and to get something out of it and get them, because everyone's paying the same for each class.
That's what Ash said, didn't he?
So
when,
it's like,
when Ash did the seminar, he was like, who's the guy with the least experience in the room? And
Yeah,
then,
right.
and then he was like,
Probably
right,
you.
if I... It wasn't me for once. If he was like, if I say,
That's his
if I
yardstick,
say
right?
something,
Yeah.
and he says, like, if he says, "Do you know what this is?" and he says yes, no one else gets to ask a question. That's how he based his like teaching, wasn't it? Off of
Yeah.
that sort of
Like, it's
what you're
almost
saying.
too big. So I get the whole point of the constraints-led approach is you don't just say, go do jiu-jitsu, go do it. You say, we're just trying to connect the arm and the head. Do that however you want to do it. Like, I get that.
So how would you learn to do a berimbolo?
Well, exactly, right? It's a bit like the monkey writing Shakespeare thing. Of like, if you lock a monkey in a room with a pen and a piece of paper...
The infinite monkey.
Which I think they worked out relatively recently is like not going to happen, right? So it's like there's certain things, but then how did someone work that out
in the
to
first
begin
place?
with?
Yeah,
Right?
by fucking
Dunno.
around.
By fucking around.
Yeah, but jiu-jitsu is still evolving like that.
Yeah.
Like, for example, from when you
We
started...
steal shit from everywhere, like wrestling,
Yeah.
judo.
Yeah, exactly.
There's still stuff coming up now that, like, someone will learn from somewhere else and then come in.
Just today, I got two things. I got taught something by Cam on Saturday morning. Showed me this like choke
that head and...
with using your head in the inside as you're passing. It's kind of like you're in a head and arm position from top turtle, but you just use pressure to. And I used it today successfully. And then Archie then taught me or showed me something
Some bullshit.
from like reverse close guard, which I've never really used, in the gi. And he was in on my legs, and it was like really an annoying position to be in. Like, it's just not a position. And those guys play that a lot in their no-gi game. And it's like, it's a new approach for me. So I'm just like, let's see how this goes. This is fun.
I saw
thrown
you
that
were
up.
in a calf slicer for a little while, weren't you?
Yeah. He went into the calf slicer, and then I was attacking his foot. And then in the end, I was like, he kept cranking it till it was good. I tapped.
That's your kryptonite, that is as well too, like that kind of thing.
Yeah,
That or a
but-
suplex.
That or a suplex. Yeah, but you got to let, my approach is you sit there, let people start doing things on you and see where it goes.
Yeah.
I wasn't like, right, don't let this guy wrap his legs around me.
Yeah.
I'm going to stand up and try. So you got to, that's how I like to learn sometimes. I learn by my mistakes, but also to feel
win or
you
you
can
learn.
kind of go, okay.
You learn or
And
you
sometimes you
lose.
just haven't got the capacity, or you lose and you lose.
Live, learn, lose.
But those are two. I'm saying those are two things. One where you're learning through these various things, but we weren't like fighting at 100%.
Yeah.
It was, and there's new stuff coming out of the woodwork all the time.
Yeah.
And that's fantastic. But it's being
New trends.
it's being developed, isn't it, by people doing the sport.
Yeah.
So whether they're training at a CLA gym or whether they're training at another gym, they're just the more people that are doing this is like the monkey thing, right? The more people doing the thing at a higher level or whatever, it's just going to pick stuff up. You're always going, I found this thing where I put this, playing with the gi,
Some bullshit.
and some, but you need a foundation to kind of work off, don't you? And
Yeah.
that's the idea of artistry, isn't it? I think as well. Like when you learn a martial art, talking about boxing and how it wouldn't is a good example, I think, because you look at something like Floyd Mayweather, modern era, great boxer, but he's not boxing like you get taught in a boxing club, right? You wouldn't teach people. He does certain things, but it's not day one. You're not learning like the Philly shell. You don't drop your hands like Floyd. He had to get good, but he's going to have gone to those gyms and had to have his hands up here, and he's been jabbing and crossing and hooking and moving his feet and learning all the basics. And as he got good, as he could do all those basics, he started to sort of like develop his own style. And that's what you and with jiu-jitsu you see that people have got their own style.
But
Some people are good with real tight technique, but some people are good and they don't, and yet they're still good because they're adapting stuff in a particular way. Sam's a good example of that. You're quite a good example of that. Conrad's a good example of that. Certain things where you're like, that's not textbook,
but it works.
But it hurt me.
So and that's an interesting dynamic, isn't it? It's like this is so you could argue that is, what are we trying to teach here? The ultimate goal of jiu-jitsu is control that leads to submission. So if you get there and it's not following the roadmap that your coach taught you, you've found your own way and you're still getting results, then you might be a savant or whatever. Do you know what I mean? You might, Beethoven, Mozart was writing symphonies at like 3. Like they just, there's something about, some people will just have a different way of approaching it and change the game, right?
And a little smidge of the tism.
Well, yeah, people who think differently change the world, don't they?
Yeah.
People who think the same might get by in it, but they change the world.
Yeah.
And so I haven't seen anything in the CLA world that makes me go, man, this person is changing the world. I just see it. It's just another way of saying what is already happening, and they're focusing on it. I think I've got no problem with it. I just think they should just pipe down on the online stuff. Really. That's it.
When it comes to the techniques like that are trending and working, I think it's just a vicious circle, because one day one of those old techniques will come round that will beat the current technique that's going on, and then it'll just keep circling back around.
I think that the basics are always that solid base, though, aren't they?
Yeah.
Like you can get all fancy all this leg lock entanglement stuff and all that blah blah blah, but
a good old smother.
An example of that tonight was big Leighton coming back, and he's a big strong guy, but he just uses simple kind of jiu-jitsu, but just really well, and also he's got all the attributes to go with it. That's it, yeah. And it's just worse, like you said, like Hodger Gracie, right, the greatest of all time. He's not really. He's doing things so small, so well that you don't. It just looks like basic jiu-jitsu. Yeah. And sometimes I think I kind of like that example earlier. Like you let yourself get embroiled in someone's fancy game and see what happens. It's kind of an experiment, and it's and it can end badly because they can calf slice at you and it hurts. But
Archie's really great because he takes you down a
you could also I could also take the approach of like, I am going to be on point and I'm not going to let any of those entanglements come in.
Yeah.
And once you can put them in a sort of traditionally bad spot, they're going to find it very difficult to employ those things. The beauty of fundamentals is it nullifies a lot of that funky stuff.
Yeah. Right? I think I try and base myself off of that, like of thinking that then.
Your game's littered with nonsense.
It's not, though.
Your foundations are bullshit.
No, yeah, but everything bases back to an arm being straight.
Yeah, no, I am.
Like, so I'll arm bar people from the weirdest of fucking places, but it's based on the fact that
because the
your arm
of
is straight. And it was like when we were doing that position with Sparta, I can't remember who it was with, but you said, like, we were doing from half guard and I ended up getting that stretched out arm bar, and you were like, I can't remember what you said, like that was a fucking armbar from there and never seen that, whatever. But it's like, I look for that. I'll just look for the pulled down basics of your arm can only bend this way. So if I see an arm straight, like one I'm doing at the moment is when I'm trying to pass, if they're catching me in half guard, I'll put my knee on their other arm that's normally just flailing around,
slam it into the ground,
and then I'll start getting under the elbow and start pulling it towards me, because you can't go anywhere. It's pinned to the mat. And it's still, all it is an armbar. But that's what I mean. So, like, the simplest of stuff is always going to come back round, like what you were saying about all this.
Well, when you break jiu-jitsu back down, isn't it, into the idea that it's like pinning someone down, controlling them, and then forcing them to tap. Like, how do you tap someone? Well, I say it quite a lot. How does an arm move? You've got this way, straight, and any kind of Americana. Straight arm lock, Kimura lock.
One man can pin you, another one can fuck you.
Oh, that's that guy. Yeah, he says.
Who was that said? I keep saying it. I don't know where it came from.
Who is it?
The base of jiu-jitsu. If one man can hold you down,
basically he's a comedy guy. Like he does like sketches. He doesn't actually train or whatever, but he goes into that. It's not. Is it a jiu-jitsu gym or a judo gym? And he's like. Yeah, if one man can pin you down, if it takes one man to pin you down, it'll take two men to arse rape you or something.
It's
there's four of us in it.
It sounds like a Master Ken
Yeah.
Did you watch that video I sent you?
Still haven't watched it.
There's a guy called.
I've got work to do.
We should go on to a different subject. We've talked
Yeah.
for a
We've
long
been
time
talking
about
for
this.
over an hour.
We've been talking about
About
that
that.
approach and
It's
going
also
round
10
in
past
circles a
10.
little bit, haven't we?
It's 10 past 10 at night.
If you could change something about
Your game.
jiu-jitsu,
Oh, okay.
One thing.
if you
Don't
could,
get embroiled in other people's games. Always play dominant top position.
Yeah.
And never let anyone get anything going on you.
if you could change one thing about like jiu-jitsu as the whole of what it is now, what would you?
Changed anything
Yeah.
about jiu-jitsu.
Or if you could
No
go
gi and speedos.
I've
back
never met John Morgan.
to starting your journey again, would you change anything again, like how you learned or how you did anything with that?
No, not about how I learned or anything like that. I wish I hadn't gotten injuries, illness.
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing that have
Yeah.
affected my training.
What about like
But nothing in
Letting
the
Mason join the
terms
club.
of
he didn't really let me. I was I just appeared.
Swerved your way back.
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, I haven't really got any.
Would you have started like injury prevention or anything sooner?
What do you mean injury
Like
prevention?
stretching,
yeah,
gym
but
stuff.
Well, stretching ain't going to
always
start an eye
say
gouge.
always say that, but I think no. You've got to. Everyone's on that journey, aren't they? You can say I can say to my blue in the face to young people like, make sure you do this, do your stretching, but stretching doesn't really work for me.
Don't
I
train
think
with
it's
ringworm.
do some strength training. Yeah, don't train with ringworm. Clean your gi, cut your nails. Don't be a dick.
Scrub your staff out.
Yeah.
I wish I
Like-
picked up jiu-jitsu when I was in America, when I was
When you were younger.
like 10.
Yeah, I mean,
go
there's always that
10
feeling
zone.
you want to go and do it earlier, isn't there? But that's that idea. That again, I think that's to do with this sort of modern idea of society. Everybody's in a bit of a rush, and it's like it's all right.
The best time is just
Slow down.
I'm,
You know, where are you headed?
It's just
what's your end
It's annoying to
goal,
think
you
like
know?
I was in this workshop, fat as fuck. The thing that got me out of being fat was literally
Wheels
just
over there.
just round the corner.
Yeah, yeah,
And I
we
could have
were
picked it up.
and he
like,
used to walk past like that.
I could have picked that up how many years ago now?
Yeah, but
That would
I'm
have been
a
like-
prime example of that.
Well, we were there probably. We started training there in 2015, 16. something
Yeah.
like
So I could have started jiu-jitsu back then.
Yeah, but you
that.
might
Yeah,
not.
but you didn't. It wasn't much longer, was it? Couple of years,
2018, 2019.
you
2018.
might not have stuck to it because, as I say, like I'm kind of an example of that. I've been jumping in and out since I was like 17,
Yeah.
but I didn't have the mentality that I have now, so I just sort of like jumped in and out. Whereas, and that's what I always think, oh, if I carried on training from then, now I'd be black belt, blah blah blah. Like I trained with people that were white belt then, a black belt now, whatever. But yeah, so you say, oh, I wish I'd picked.
You
something
you
earlier.
shouldn't have too many. You don't regrets are
Yeah, that's it.
not helping you.
I know I wouldn't have stuck to it back then because I had the different thing. Whereas now, I'm like,
learn from that rather than go back and sort of more
Yeah.
live,
bemoan
lose,
it.
learn.
I'm doing all those things.
Hallmark cards.
Jay Chesler original.
No, I mean it's important to not be too dwelling on that stuff because that's like imagining someone else's life, isn't it? I wish I had someone else's life. You haven't. You've got yours.
Steer your own shit.
Is
You
there-
know, it's
Is there another martial art you think you would have wanted to have
what
started?
more.
Aikido.
Yeah, or done more.
Taekwondo.
Yeah, I'll probably now because I think judo is such a good base for jiu-jitsu, and I did judo when I was a kid, but only to like a few belts, whatever. And I can't remember what belt I was, an orange belt or green belt, something like that. I can't
You want
remember.
to do Mexican wrestling?
But, and then I was only young, yeah.
Lucha Libre.
But Lucha Libre. No, that's Lucha Libre. It's different, isn't it?
No, yeah, it's
that's
something
the
else.
Brazilian thing. But judo is a good base, I think, for pure gi jiu-jitsu. Obviously, wrestling would be good, and I'm sort of countering what I said a moment ago. Don't bemoan what you know, whatever. But I think if I'd have stuck, I did a bit of judo, but I never carried it on. Then I did lots of striking art, and when you're in a jiu-jitsu gym and you sort of like me now, I only think about jiu-jitsu. I don't really do any striking really anymore. And so it becomes essentially irrelevant. Yes, you've got kind of like posture and certain things, but most of what I learned in striking is not helping me on the jiu-jitsu mats. But it helps me in other ways. I still enjoy it, But if I'd have put all that effort into judo, then done as much effort as I put into jiu-jitsu, I'd now have 2 black belts in grappling, and I'd be a better grappler than I am now.
We had
but also I wouldn't be as good a striker. So, but it's just I don't use the striking because.
Speaking of striking, I got a really good dick shot on you.
Yeah, that was cheap.
It was really clean and sneaky as well. Basically,
With a toe or
no, just pure
with
fist.
When you're
just punch,
Yeah.
dick punch,
when
Joe
you-
Sundo style.
when
Just
you've
Keith
got them
Hackney
in
the guy.
closed guard, you can actually put your own fist down past your bum and your legs, like here, because they're obviously kneeling on the floor. So you can punch down like this, and this is a perfect spot to punch
Punching
in the
down,
dick.
that sounds exactly the
Punch
sort of
me in
thing
the
you would do.
dick.
Talking
It's
about striking and
perfect.
stuff, one of the new guys that we've got at the moment, this morning or yesterday, one
Sorry,
of the two.
just to check, how long did you say that had?
I know it's still recording.
We've been
still
going for an hour and 10.
Yeah,
So
it's
it might
still
die.
going. It might.
Well, the first
But,
40 minutes were a waste of time.
Yeah,
But no, when we were, because we did a lot of like wrestling this morning, he was like, you would go for a necktie and he would like pretend to do like knees and stuff. I'm guessing he's had a bit of Muay Thai
Oh,
experience.
the
so-
guy that was in your picture.
yeah,
top
he
of
absolutely
his
loved it.
Yeah, he
but
trained a couple of days in a row now.
Oh, has
hasn't
he?
I think
Yeah.
maybe he did.
I double legged him and then just pinned him, just to let him know
oh,
like, you can't knee now.
that'll show him.
He absolutely loved it though.
Guys,
He will.
guys,
But
third
that's
class.
the thing. When you first
People like that, they want to know it works.
You want to know, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'd done years of striking, but we'd done grappling as well, so it's different.
It's like when John
different-
Harrison first started. He came. His first class was a morning class, and the first thing he asked Cardigan Ben was just like, "Show me it works. Like, go hard. Like, don't go easy." And he's still going now. Like, people want to know it works.
Yeah, yeah. Well, a lot of people do.
Yeah.
Yeah, and a lot of people will, but a lot of people will trust it works. A lot of
Yeah.
people will ask questions. Again, this comes down to the different kind of people, the variables.
Yeah.
You know, some obnoxious twat might ask stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
You know, someone. So you could have an obnoxious
The
person
tisms.
who would ask you, "Oh, does this work? What a load of rubbish!" And then you show them, and then they never come back.
There's that
You could have
video,
the
isn't
John
there,
say
of
the
that?
same
Yeah.
words. Does this work? Prove it to me. And they do it, and you're like, oh, I fucking love that.
Yeah.
And then you could have someone who's a bit more like, you know, remember Ryan used to ask so many questions, as if like,
Yeah, Ryan,
what
shout out
about,
to Ryan.
What shout out to Ryan? What about this? What
Could
about
anyone
that?
pronounce
And
his last name?
Guacamole, 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 guacamole.
Pizza capricciosa.
Guacamole.
Did you ever meet Ryan?
But you know, he
yeah.
would, in his first, you know, as a white belt, he would
Lot of
ask an
nipple.
awful lot of questions, and a lot of them were sort of silly questions. They could you could take them as maybe being a bit like, yeah, but what if type questions, you know.
I had
And-
someone say that.
And so there's the same question being asked by 3 different types of people. They're all valid. Some people come back and some people don't, based on the answer that they get. And you know, and it's right to question authority in it or whatever. Like, just
Yeah.
don't come in a jiu-jitsu gym and go, "Oh, that guy's got black belt. He must know what he's on about."
Well, yeah,
you know,
true.
it's like, okay, well, show me, prove it.
Yeah.
And also, you know, but I think jiu-jitsu is quite good at that in a sense, because it's like, but it's still right to ask. I think, you know, we should be questioning power and stuff like that.
I remember one of my morning classes. Obviously, it was a morning, so I've got nothing against them. They're probably half asleep. But I showed a technique of like wrestling up, and their response was, "When would I use this?" It's like, when you fucking sat on the floor, mate. Like,
It's probably the way
Exact-
you taught it though.
Who asked you that?
I won't say on here.
No, you
We'll say it after.
You can tell us, but I'll beep it.
It's a bit far in to believe it now.
Go on. It's fine. It's easy.
Oh, everyone can probably guess who fucking said that on a morning class.
No,
No.
he's on the wrong class.
What was the question?
Yeah.
Oh,
When would I use this?
When would I use
Oh,
it?
Yeah. It was literally like an arm drag
But,
from
like,
C
you know,
to just
you
ask
know,
when.
He asks a lot of questions in class, like
Yeah.
on a Monday evening, when he's one of the higher grades in the room, in a sense. He still asks a lot of questions.
I have to beat
and
him
I
like this.
appreciate his questions, really. Honestly, you know. So,
The,
but I just think he needs to hear things
Yeah.
for him. Like I think maybe when I'm in the middle teaching a technique and there's 30 people sat around watching, there's some noise going on in his head. He starts doing it. Maybe he's missed a bit, so he just needs a bit of clarification. And,
Maybe he wasn't
and he
listening.
also, you know, and he likes to check stuff. And you know, it's all right. That's what I mean. You need to be. I don't mind. I've had harder people. You know, my teaching job everyone needed a lot of help all the time. You know, special needs teaching. It's
Like John Harrison.
That's why he got
So, you know.
so
I'm
good
gonna-
so quickly, wasn't it?
I'm going to make
What?
sure I ask
Special needs.
loads of questions from now on.
don't obnoxiously.
What if he's got a gun? What if he's driving a van?
Oh, yeah.
What if we're in space and it's weightless? How do you apply pressure in space?
That, that
That's a
thing,
good question, though.
that thing about proving it is that video of that guy. Who, do you know who it is? But I can't remember his name. Like, is he like Spanish or he's like a black belt, isn't he? And he's trying to show that video. It's like and he-
Terror.
yeah, and the guy's like, and he's doing that pass where he's like pulling the arm
Oh,
up.
I don't think this would work. Have you ever
Yeah.
done this to me? No. And he's like,
Keep filming, keep filming.
Let me show you.
Yeah,
Let me show you. Are you recording? You're recording. Don't stop recording.
That's Mason Fowler and Caltera.
that's
And then
it.
he-
Yeah,
Chokes him out.
and he's literally. I don't know if he really does go
no,
unconscious.
he
or,
does. That's
yeah,
classic Terror behaviour.
because he ends up in a canto, doesn't he? And like,
That is
puts him out.
Yeah,
Yeah, he's a.
but that's the prove it, isn't it? That's the
charming.
That's the question of would this work? Well,
We can test it.
There you fucking go.
Yeah.
Do you see, what's the name? Oh, fuck it. It doesn't matter.
it's past your
I
bedtime.
feel like we're all a little bit tired.
I got to be up in, like, was it?
Shall we call
10 hours?
Shall we call?
Let's
Have we,
see
got
that.
any, have we got any other subject matters while I'm here?
So very
What's this
quickly,
about?
We'll have to have you. Oh yeah, let's open that.
Oh yeah, it's nothing.
Big
I
news,
just thought I'd bleep because I
massive.
just had it on the doorstep when I got home. It was just Scramble sending me some kit.
Oh,
Oh,
I've got my
do you
new
know
belt.
what it
I
is
think I've
yet?
got my new belt in there. Yeah, I do know what it is.
did you get another belt?
Yeah.
So is it a red belt? You
Can't-
Grandmaster
can't
now.
belt.
No,
There's a hole here.
It's going to be a good one.
Someone's
What is the belt I deserve? Feel it in there. There it is.
That's good.
There it is.
Oh,
Oh,
oh.
It's weird. It's quite.
It's their new.
very white.
It's very white. I love a white key, to be fair.
It's
So
quite
Can't
good
go
that
wrong
they
with
send
white
white
gi.
belts out with a gi when you buy one. Really.
It's their
traditional.
new
Nice.
A1L.
Is it the base?
I
case?
like having L on there, long. Like
You an L?
I'm not.
You an A1L?
I'm an
I'm
A1L.
an A1L in Scramble.
Oh.
I was A1 in Aesthetic.
Is that the base K gi?
No, it's the. I think it's got a different name.
I get an A2 and then shrink the fuck out of it.
It's not the base.
Do
K,
ya?
It's called like the.
Well, because I can't be
It's not
fucked so
straight
everything
up,
gets
isn't
tumble
Fury
dry.
is it? It's like then I can't remember what they're.
That's nice.
It's nice, isn't it? Simple. I like obviously Scramble, nice and clean.
One thing I've always
Not
wanted to
special on
do.
the back for a patch.
I'm not sure if I
Patchy
said it
stuff.
before. Like, I've always wanted to
New
buy.
belt. There you go, mate.
Thank you.
I've always wanted to buy a gi, and then every club that I've visited put patch on that gi of the club.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
I like
I think
their
that'd be pretty cool.
Scrambles trousers. Though.
Yeah, I like. To be fair, I like the fact that they don't have the.
Fate. That's it. So it's the fate. It's the
Fair
fate.
and
White fate. gi.
time something.
I think that's
Yeah.
What does it stand for?
fate.
Yeah, but it stands for
Spats.
something.
Spats.
Oh, I need some new spats.
That's the
Can I
fake
have those
spats. No, I need these ones.
ones?
I do need, I do
For all
need
that,
some
for all the
spats.
no-gi that you train.
I'm saying. What's this hoodie?
Maybe we'll
bagged
speed
up.
this bit up.
No, this is like an unboxing. This is
I hate those videos.
this is
I fucking hate
perfect. This is
unboxing.
perfect
ASMR.
sponsorship material, Sam. Shut the fuck up.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying it's good,
Yeah.
good shit. I'm just saying.
All the millions of views this is going to get.
Exactly. Yeah, nice.
Oh, look at that.
No, like
That's
little
nice.
patch on the sleeve.
Bumpy.
I like
Patch on
that.
the sleeve.
Superior.
Get yourself some
quality.
Scramble kit.
Yeah.
Use my discount code
To be fair,
on Insta.
What is the discount
it
code?
is the best.
Oh, what is it? I think it's.
We can put it in the description.
You haven't done your homework.
We'll dub it over.
Very nice.
Like a Japanese
I'll do
film.
that.
Yeah.
Think-
I'll just put it in the bottom corner.
Yeah.
Steven Byrne.
Yeah, it's on the
10.
Instagram page. Check it out. I've got some more stuff coming tomorrow.
Is this?
It's embroidered with
Scramble
his name on
gum
it.
Yeah.
Huh?
Is it embroidered with his name on it?
I think that says Mason
Stephen.
Reuben Goldstein. is the belts that you're giving out now still tatami or are they scramble?
No, I think
Mine's a tatami.
just any belts that I've been given by people
Right.
who don't need the belt.
Yeah.
So mainly, I think tatami always, which is good. They do give a white belt with most skis, don't
Yeah.
they? But Scramble,
Because that's got like a cool
good
like.
work, Scramble, doing the same thing.
That's got like a cool.
Sembone, scramble, unathletic, All
What do you reckon
sponsor
that
us,
says?
Not officially.
Fate.
Oh, you know what it
I
is.
think it says fate.
Quick fire. Oh,
Last one.
Fucking hell, would be rude not to, wouldn't it?
Would be.
We're gonna have to finish up because
So, quick fire question. While
we're
we
getting
chug
like
the last
half
bit.
10.
All right.
Whilst
I've
we
got to be
chug-
up in like 6 hours.
chug this last beer. So what? So
He's not.
when?
Viewers, he's not drinking. He doesn't drink, do you, John?
No.
No. So
So
Never-
when is
never been
Newbury
drunk in my life.
Fucking hell,
have
I
yourself a
can't
nice
even-
little
these two.
tea before bed. Little peppermint tea.
I haven't had dinner.
Have a snooze. You'll be up in a few hours.
Sorry, we're still doing the podcast.
Yeah.
What's next for Newbury Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu?
What's next? We're
World
not.
domination.
No, just keeping going and enjoying our training, right?
Yeah. Okay. Here's
You're not going to get any
Quick one.
big grand plans not on here from me.
announcement. Quite a lot of clubs have like. So you and I have already spoken about
We're going to
this.
say something in Espanol then. Go on, love it.
Club. Have like fucking hell.
Sorry.
We're keeping you up, are we?
Yes, you are.
Literally. He sleeps here.
Yeah.
So we've spoken about like lots of or some clubs like attract a certain type of person. Like some clubs like we're going
Attract
to
nonces.
Urso,
Oh,
right?
sorry.
Theoretically,
Traditionally,
you'd have to go there
they're
more,
all
wouldn't you, to
fucking
probably
massive,
know.
Yeah.
right?
They do have some big boys there, don't they?
Big
Seems
attracts
to-
big, or like there's
I've
a
never
vibe,
trained with
like a
them yet.
competitive vibe at certain clubs or whatever. Do you think that Newbury has a vibe or attracts a certain type of person? Because I've got a
Misfits.
yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say. Yeah,
Do you reckon?
if you are kind
But
of
actually,
weirdo,
there's
you
n-
are kind of weirdo.
No. Oh, yeah.
Actually, though, you know, we've got quite a mixture, haven't we? That's quite good.
We've got military people, we've got scientists, we've got nuclear physicists, we've got Mason, we've got.
I'm in my own bracket.
You
I put stickers on shit.
smidge of the tism.
You modified pictures of
Sam
goats.
takes dust off.
Nutsacks.
That's right.
One of the first things I
think
knew.
don't think we would be classified as like a particular like Urso. I don't know. Zion have got some big guys, but they're near to like the military base there, aren't they? Again, there's lots of military. Not that they're, but you know, and they traditionally they're working out, they're bulking up, and they just have a selection of kind of like large athletic humans to kind of get in the gym. Whereas we I think it's partly because of like who the coaches are as well. Because I'm small, you're small. We were the coaches initially. You're not.
You say I was
You're
small
not.
with him.
So I've had more bigger guys leave the gym than smaller guys.
you were late to the
And I
game.
think some of the bigger guys who have left might have left because there wasn't enough other bigger guys to roll around with. Sometimes
Wasn't that why Sam
Yeah.
said he?
Sam left just because he was a piece of shit.
Oh,
I'm joking.
Jesus.
I can say that he's my brother. He's better than me.
But
so.
like there's definitely
He's only better
an
than me
element
because
of
of
that,
me.
right? But I would say, look around. Most people are in our club are between kind of like 65 and 90 kg. Ross Newton when he competed was the heaviest guy in our gym. He's an average size human. He fought, but really, and he's not massive, is he?
Oh,
You don't
right,
look
as
at
in,
Ross and
yeah.
go, "Geez, he's a big bloke."
Yeah, yeah,
No,
He's
yeah, people.
he's not a big, massive bloke like the guy he fought.
Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah,
Urso have got like loads of those guys, 120 kg lumps.
Yeah, I can't wait.
who lift weights.
I'm starting to change my mind.
Tarek is not he's a big guy, right? He must be circa 100 kg. I'm
yeah, I
guessing.
think so. Yeah.
But and so he can keep his guys. If I get a load of 100 kg guys that look like Tarek coming to learn from me, they're all going to smush me in the first few weeks and be like, what's that? So, because jiu-jitsu is a bit like that, isn't it? But if they stick around, they'll probably get a different kind of technique and stuff like that. And,
What about-
I don't know, something about that maybe.
I'd
That's
say-
what I found like when I first started.
Different clubs have different appeals, right?
I was a fat shit.
Was.
But then. But like. What I
Skip the
learned.
7 bone tonight.
I think what I realised quite early, which I think benefited me early on, was instead of doing the things that come naturally to me of putting pressure and my weight down on someone, to do the small things of being inverted and
But
being
how
upside
come-
down and being on bottom.
How come you put your pressure down and
Well, now
put your weight down on
because
me?
it comes naturally, and
Oh.
I've already learned the other stuff. Like I've already adapted to be able to do the little man stuff, because that would be harder for me to learn. And now I'm doing the stuff that comes naturally because it's going to be easier for me to learn.
I think there's definitely an element of that. Like Kev's gym, I was chatting to later, like Kev.
So now you can start your pressure. You should have started your pressure before.
In triangles, probably early on, and always did that. Like things that ended in triangles. That was his personally, like sort of number one technique, I would say. So a lot of people in his gym in Basingstoke were just like real good at triangles, real good at certain things. And I think we ended up being a gym that was kind of well known. Like these guys have got good guards, like Pete and stuff like that. A little bit different because we did as we got bigger, we approached the teaching of like guard retention, different guards.
My God.
And like if you're small, you need a guard.
No, I've got a good half guard.
Well, there you go. That's a guard.
That's all you need.
That'll do.
I'm still
One and done.
What's your guard?
Your lasso guard.
Lasso guard.
The bullshit guard.
Very good.
Definitely lasso guard.
But there's normally something that you could say about a place that's like, it's because of X, Y, and Z. But there's always again variables. There's so many different factors happening in here.
Wiring complaints.
Letting different people. I've always tried to encourage more people to coach. Right?
Walking in for the open.
John's a coach. A few times a week. Sam's always been a coach.
Right near the door.
Once
you've got through it.
Harry's a coach.
But then they've all got different
styles,
different
things bringing to the table.
That's it.
We don't dictate. Well, I don't dictate. Like you've got to teach this in your class this week. I've kind of come to the table with this idea of like, if I'm asking you to coach that class, then I trust. I know you're good enough to do it, and I trust in your judgment. People can come to me and go, "What do you think about this?"
That's why you come.
But for the most part, that's all right. Whereas other gyms will have very structured, very formulaic stuff. Then some people will like that.
Yeah.
So it's horses for courses. If people come to Newbury, I think what they're going to find is a friendly atmosphere.
Yeah, 100%.
And that is really the goal.
Yeah.
For me, the goal is don't be a dick, friendly atmosphere, have fun. And if that leads you on a journey to, jiu-jitsu competition and gold medals and whatever, or if it just leads you to feeling more confident to walk down the street or look after your family, or just to feel like your old body is actually capable of more than you thought it was, or whether it's just a way of breaking a sweat and getting away from some bullshit, then these are all good things, and I will embrace that. And I think that's a pretty good. Everybody who teaches at the club shares that feeling.
Yeah,
that's important.
And if they don't, they're cut out like the cancer.
Seb Archer is more into tennis and cycling. So
fuck the cycling.
Sure. I think he's losing numbers,
and
but he's getting new tennis partners.
Reciting John Danaher.
Yeah.
But yeah, we've got a distinct lack of cunts and sex pests.
I'm not sure we can say the C1 on there.
Too late now.
Oh, we're not sponsored yet. We're not earning any
Check
money.
with
So
YouTube
fuck
and
it.
non-athletic.
I think, well, you've got you had this conversation the other day about J-Rod and people getting weeded out. We've had our own weeding out scenario back in the day, and I think that our club is almost built on the idea that we're not going to put up with that kind of shit.
Yeah.
Should we beep it?
No.
We're definitely beeping that.
Yeah, don't worry, I'll beep it.
But again, beeping it, I mean, honestly, if
Name and shame?
I always felt like, you have to call.
Like we had
you have
those-
to call these things out because it had to be done, and there was other ways it could have been resolved. Didn't get resolved how it possibly could or should have been, but we stuck to the principal idea, and I think that was always right. Yeah. And a lot of people let that stuff slide, and I didn't, and I never have. There's no you're not going to find proof of me letting that shit slide, and. I think that means something to a lot of people. I think integrity is important. I would say you need some integrity, and if you feel like, okay, I can trust this place, I can trust the integrity, I can trust the people that I'm around to go, actually this was a dick move. And, recently we had someone who done, smothered someone with their hand.
Don't even fucking look at me. It was not me.
Stop it.
There's many gyms that would just be like, whatever, that's absolutely fine. Of course you can do that, and just kind of be a bit laddie about it, in my opinion. Whereas I got that request from someone I respect in the martial arts, respect as my student, respect as a long-term martial artist, and I thought, well, I have to speak up about this and let people know this is not. If it upsets you, and it's brought to our attention, we're gonna deal with that problem.
Yeah.
You know,
I'm still
And
getting
it-
smothered.
You know,
Still getting this happening.
yeah. But no,
He's
but
on
do
his
you know? Do you
third
see what? Do you
strike,
see what I'm
it's
saying?
alright.
It's important.
I'll do it to the end
if
of the
people
day.
want to be part of something, they have to know that the thing they're part of is authentic,
I think
and that we're authentically that. If you don't like that,
Fuck off.
He sat on my face.
yeah, exactly.
He sat on my face the other day, and I did not like that.
what in
that
jiu-jitsu?
in
Yeah,
jiu-jitsu?
in jiu-jitsu.
That was,
Outside, it was
that
like-
was right there. So
In jiu-jitsu, you're wearing spats,
Just
and
about.
Mexican hats.
I had my little pink shorts on.
Yeah, I think it shows in the Newbury club because there's been a few women that have come over to join and train at Newbury, and they've
Fucked off.
said no. They've always said like like I think someone said to you and about how comfortable they were made to feel, and that, and then they stick around. And then
as a
those-
litmus test, it's a real good like.
yeah,
Unfortunately, one of them has fucked the knee up.
Yeah.
Shout out to
Through no
Maya.
one's fault.
No, it's just one
I
of
think it
those
was
freak
probably
things.
John's fault.
It must have been John.
I was
Yeah.
watching it.
Yeah.
Well, there you go.
I saw
then.
it exactly happen.
If you allowed it to happen, then it's your fault.
There's not much I can do when I just see it happen. It's like, oh, stop. No,
Well,
it's too
A
fast.
butterfly's wings in whatever, and then a tsunami somewhere else.
yeah.
I took her to hospital.
Tsunami triggered.
But hopefully, she's not going to have surgery.
Safe, not your safe word then.
No.
We've been going for an hour and a half.
Right. Oh,
Fucking Jesus, we
Fuck.
can sync the audio to that, can't we?
Sam's
late.
pissed. We
Shall
need to go.
do bye-bye for now.
Yeah, bye.
So we don't do clap anymore.
We
Sorry.
do bye-bye for now.
Sorry, Sensei.
It's
He,
like
he hasn't
since-
had clap for like 20 years.
Thank God. Clean women.
Bye. Bye for now.
I need fucking sleep.
Oh.